Thank you, and the chair now recognizes Mr. Raskin for his 5 minutes.
Thank you much, Mr. Chairman. The stabilizing braces have evolved significantly from their original intended use, which was allowing disabled gun users to fire an AR-style pistol. Today's braces are largely used to exploit a loophole in the regulatory structure to allow owners to turn their weapons into short-barreled rifles, efficient weapons of war, without triggering traditional ATF oversight of this kind of weapon. But don't take my word for it. Take the word of the people who use these so-called wrist stabilizer braces. Please play the video if you would.
You see a gun like this and you're like, how the heck is a barrel with that length a pistol? Well, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about SB Tactical and their stabilizing braces for pistols.
The end here, which is a rubber type of configuration. It's adjustable. If you want to run your arm through it and do so, you can, and tighten it down to your forearm, which of course is what the braces were originally intended for. However, with the ATF rulings now, you can occasionally accidentally fire in front of your shoulder.
Today on Sunday Gear Review, I want to talk to you about this SB Tactical HKPDW arm brace. It does help some people, right? So you can slide your arm through that and undo it and all that stuff. But we all know what these are actually used for, and nobody is wondering about that.
And we're going to just see, like, does it really feel like a stock, even though it's not a stock?
Back to this brace, it changes the game. Like I said, it gives you 4 points of contact with the occasional shoulder. Got it loaded up? Let's see the difference.
Now you've got a very shorty boy, right? So you can put this guy obviously in a briefcase if you wanted to, in a backpack.
Mr. Wilcox, why are short-barreled rifles more dangerous and strictly regulated than other kinds of firearms?
Short-barreled rifles are more easily concealable than long-barreled rifles, but have more destructive power than traditional handguns. For example, common ballistic vests worn by police protect against handgun ammunition, while rifle ammunition, like those fired by short-barrel rifles, can penetrate it.
And what's the difference between a short-barreled rifle and a firearm with a stabilizing brace, as we saw brandished in the video there, and as we see on the poster behind me?
When it comes to usability, I think next to none.
There really is no difference in the power and potential violence of the weapon, and there's very little difference in the weapon's design. Look, our colleagues know that gun violence is the leading cause of death among children in the United States of America today. They know that more people proportionately die of gun violence in America than in any other industrialized country on earth, whether we're talking about Canada or Germany or France, United Kingdom, Japan, Israel, you name it. They know that the states with the highest rates of firearm deaths are the ones with the weakest gun laws, and the states with the lowest levels of firearm deaths have the strongest gun laws. But they say that all of this chaos and destruction is just the necessary price we have to pay because of the Second Amendment. All those thousands of people gunned down at church, in school, at the Walmart, in parks and grocery stores are just the human sacrifice we've decided to pay as a society for our Second Amendment. My colleagues, this is a lie. Our colleagues advance a completely flawed theory of the Second Amendment, which leads them to oppose even reasonable common sense gun safety rules that the Supreme Court has approved and which the vast majority of Americans endorse. Our colleagues embrace what's called the insurrectionist theory of the Second Amendment. Our colleague, Mr. Gaetz, says the Second Amendment is, quote, about maintaining within the citizenry the ability to maintain an armed rebellion against the government if that becomes necessary. Our colleague Chip Roy says the Second Amendment was designed purposefully to empower the people to resist the force of tyranny used against them. And Congresswoman Boebert says the Second Amendment, quote, has nothing to do with hunting unless you're talking about hunting tyrants, maybe. Well, this theory is completely debunked and destroyed by the text of the Constitution itself and by Supreme Court precedent. And yet their theory of the Second Amendment is killing Americans. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 15 of the Constitution gives Congress the power to provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union and suppress insurrections. and invasions. The Republican Guarantee Clause tells the U.S. Congress to guarantee a Republican form of government to the states and to protect them against domestic violence. There's 6 other provisions in the Constitution, including the Treason Clause, that debunk what they're saying. And we're going to have to get through their false notion of the Second Amendment in order to save human life. Thank you. I yield back.